Mary Rose here for our Divine Feminine Weekly Oracle Reading Forecast for week August 2nd to August 9th. And if you're watching this after that date that I've just mentioned, it doesn't matter because the reading and the message is still intended for you regardless. You were drawn here for some mysterious reason. And if you're interested in more of a personalized, in-depth reading, personalized for you, please visit my website, maryroseintuitive.com. You can book and schedule your reading right there, and it'll calculate with your time zone and my time zone and my schedule. Okay, so the cards that I'm working with are two individual decks. Okay, I'm working with the Everyday Witch Oracle. I love this deck. It's a really good deck by Deborah Blake, and also Angel Wisdom by Radleigh Valentine. Okay, so to save on time, I've already dealt the cards and I've laid them out here for what we all need to know. Okay, and the first card that came up was Ego. Okay, so now Ego is, in traditional Rider-Waite tarot, would be the Devil card. So what that represents is being trapped to something that doesn't really exist into you, something that you're holding on to. Ego is, well, we all need a healthy ego to survive. I always say that, and that's true. But sometimes ego can get there's a negative side to it, which basically makes you overthink things. It kind of takes the best of you, and it actually keeps you in a restrictive pattern. You know, like things that seem to repeat over and over. You seem to be attracting the same thing. It's an illusion. Okay, and sometimes our karma, well, not karma, but sometimes we tend to attract those things by our thinking. Okay, so in our thinking, you know, I'm a firm believer of the law of attraction, and what we put out there is what comes out to us. Okay, now no judgment here, because being in a human body, we all have ego. Okay, and it's just about neutralizing that ego with positive thoughts. Okay, I always say that, and it's true. It says here, the illusion of being trapped. Accept responsibility for your situation and then make choices that support your path to happiness. Addictions or unhealthy habits. Okay, so that's what it says there, and that's basically what it is. Sometimes we tend to be, there was a little bit of an over addiction towards something, maybe, you know, a little too much ice cream, a little too much vino, maybe a little too much of whatever. Everything in balance. Balance is very important. So sometimes when we're not feeling good, we tend to indulge into the finer things, and that's okay once in a while. And you know, I don't believe in saying don't do that, because the more you tell yourself, I shouldn't have that extra piece of cake, or I shouldn't have that ice cream, or I shouldn't, that's my addiction, is food and chocolate, as you can see. So when we tell ourselves that, we actually do more damage by telling ourselves, because we tell ourselves that we come from a place of lack. Okay, and that's ego right there, ego. Okay, so with saying that, you might be coming from a place of lack, whatever your situation may be, especially with relationships. When it comes to the Divine Feminine, sometimes we tend to get we want to control something to us, okay? And if we feel that we cannot control it, no matter what your situation is, and mind you, you might be going through a really tough time, a really challenging time, okay? And so you might actually say to yourself, okay, so I can't have that, he's not coming back, or she's not coming back, or whatever. It's like you're actually pushing something away from yourself, and you're actually pushing that person away by having those addictions. Okay, so you gotta kind of look at, reevaluate of what's happening. It's kind of a mess, really. It's clutter is what it is, and it's coming like a place of lack is negativity on the shelf. Okay, you know, it's like, okay, as you can see, I'm not always the neatest person, but you know, I do try to keep my bookshelves neat as much as possible, but I'm always taking cards in and out. So what's saying that is, like, whatever you have on your shelf, sometimes when it's over cluttered, it kind of makes you feel like just over anxious. And that this is where well, for me anyways, it's the control issue. It's trying to control something. It's trying to make something to be what you want it to be. And sometimes we get upset and we get mad. And then you've noticed that there's probably a lot of anger that you see out on the street. I see it all the time. And that is coming from a place of control, which is ego. Okay. Now, it's not an easy thing, but it's actually, I like this. Accept responsibility for your situation. Actually look at what is and just accept. Okay, when I was talking about the organization, sometimes we just have to say, okay, it's a mess, it's okay, it has to be what it is right now. She's not coming back right now. He's not coming back. They're not calling. No one's in my life. I can't seem to find love. We're kind of addicted to our past. We're kind of addicted to, we're always looking at what we don't have instead of looking at what we do have. And it's easy to fall into that trap. It is so easy. And then we create circumstances in the future that actually make more drama in our life. Okay. I see it all the time, and you know, I have to even watch myself. This goes for everybody. Nobody can escape that. But if you understand what's happening in your life, you can actually overcome it. We got a lot of stuff going on with the planets, and a lot of things happen. A lot of things happen to our charts. I know that. I'm just saying because I'm going through some kind of I'm going through a Pluto thing with my ascendant, so I'm just it's just coming to me. But whatever it is, and me and Dave was talking about that with the planets and everything that's going on. I won't get into that because it can be very confusing. Astrology talk can be very confusing. So what's saying that there's a lot of stuff going on in the galaxy, everything that's happening. It's making us feel a little bit more anxious. And you know what? You got to give it up. You got to give up the control, because the second card from the Everyday Witch Tarot is actually, it says cleansing body and spirit. Right. That makes a lot of sense. Cleansing body and spirit. You got to just do it. You got to just pull the bandage off, and you got to just, you know, just go for it. Whatever that may be, whatever's happening, you got to just, whatever you've been holding back on, you need to just go for it. You need to just dive in, and don't be afraid of what's going to happen. Okay. If I did that 6 years ago, I wouldn't hear me talking right now. Okay. I wouldn't have an audience, because that's what I did. I was hearing the nudges. I was hearing, because we all have spirit guides that talk to us. We all have intuition. Okay. I heard it really loud and clear to do this. And I said, okay, I have everything I need, and I just got to do it. So, you know, I just did it. I pulled the bandage and I just put that energy out there. And, you know, voila, I'm talking to you right now. So that's what it's telling you. Whatever you need to do in your life to make your life so you can be happier, so you can be more fulfilled, so you can live a life with vitality and inspiration. And you got to follow the nudges that are telling you that you need to let go of something that's holding you back right now. You got to just, whatever comes to mind. Remember, whatever comes to your mind is what the message is telling you. Okay, now, that's what I say. It's like when I'm doing these reading videos for the collective, it's very important to listen to what comes through in your mind, okay? And that is what the message is about, okay? And maybe I might trigger you in some way, or you might just want to turn this off and not listen to me, but come back again. You know, you might just say, well, I'm going to listen a little bit carefully more in what she's just said, because, you know, sometimes it can trigger you. It can bring out a lot of triggers. Trust me, I know that. So cleansing the body and spirit, okay? And that means just letting go and releasing, okay? And when you do that, you can actually create a balance in your life. This is from the Radleigh Valentine Angel Wisdom. You can create a balance, and you can make peace with the past. You know what they're telling you, actually? What I get with this is that you need to forgive. There's someone that's in your life right now that you need to forgive, and it might be a hard one. And you might find every excuse in the book to say, Mary, I cannot forgive this person. They did this to me, and they did that, and how dare they? Yes, I understand. I totally understand that. And that's where the ego comes in, and the ego holds on, is stubborn. The ego's stubborn. And this is where you got to say, you know, if you're holding on to it, that is what's holding you back from evolving, from growing, from actually having the life that you so desire. Okay, so it's about balance. And when you do that, when you forgive, what you do is you give it to yourself. It's not about giving it to the other person. It's not about going and hanging out with that other person. It's not about having, you know, like, oh, let's get together. No, it's about forgiving so you could move on, okay? And then what happens when you do that? Oh gosh, the light just is, the storm is over. You know, we had a lot of rain, and now it's like, I'm actually looking at it right now. It's actually really sunny outside and it's very beautiful. So that's what happens. Like, it just mysteriously dissipates. The storm dissipates. And the fourth card, I picked 4 cards. This is telling us plant the seeds. And this is when you can plant the seeds. You know, a lot of people tell me the law of attraction doesn't work. It's so hard. Why is the law of attraction? You know what the law of attraction is? It's positive thinking, attracting what is in for your highest good. Because whatever's in your highest good, you will attract faster. If it's not in your highest good, you will not attract it. It's not possible. It doesn't happen that way. Only what is for your highest good. Okay, and what isn't for your highest good is in your, like when you have passion for something and there's something that you really want, something that you really desire, you can attract that towards yourself. You can make that happen, a goal. And you know, like I always say, I always start simple. I always start for that parking spot. I always start for simple things. Okay, you know, like I can go on, the list will go on what I do, but I'm not here to talk to you about that. I'm here just to tell you to plant the seeds. When you clear the clutter out of everything out of your life that doesn't serve you, you can plant the seeds. And guess what? You see how the garden's growing? The garden grows. Things start to plant, they start to sprout, things start to move, things start to shift, and she looks really content. And how do you feel? For all my people that like to garden, how do you feel when you garden and you see your garden flourishing and like a beautiful harvest, and it's just gorgeous and luscious and beautiful? Like it's just so worth so much. It's like so worth it, fulfilling. You know, I love my plants, and I have some for many years, and I just love to watch them grow. And I cut and I just plant, replant, and cut and replant and replant. You know, and it just goes on and on. Some of them don't make it, and that's like, you know, like an orchid or, you know, the odd plants. Sometimes they take on, I'll have to say plants, just to put this aside, put a pin in what I was talking about. But sometimes plants, they take on the heavy negativity, the toxic energy that might be around you, because everything is energy. And plants sometimes die because of whatever's been going on in your life that's been really negative. They take it on, and when they do, you know what I do? I bury them. I bury them and I give them to the lake. You've probably seen some of my videos where I have given it to the earth, given it back to the earth. Some of my crystals that no longer are working, they're just, you know, they've retired. Same thing with plants and all living things, like even my kombucha, because I make kombucha, which is fermented green tea, and the SCOBY is it's a culture. And I'm just doing this because this is how big it is. So I got some that are this big in 2-gallon jugs, and sometimes they don't make any more. They're ready to go back to the earth and be compost. And you know, sometimes I make facials out of them. I do a lot of things, and sometimes I'll give them to my plants because they can be fertilizer. You know, it just goes on how just recycle. So saying that, going back to this, you can plant and you can make things happen. She's got a beautiful cat. Looks like Jasper. I just noticed that. And, you know, things happen. Things have a way of coming back. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. Things are coming to me. I'm going to write them down as soon as I get off of recording this. I have a reading to do, and actually I'm kind of late. I gotta cut it short right now. And so I hope that this reading was helpful for you and it gave you some insight. And until the next video, I wish you guys all the blessings, peace, love, and light.